doing. There is no authority. It doesn't come out of the, doesn't drop from the sky just because the president wants it. There's no authority for what he's doing. It violates the Constitution. It violates a slew of federal laws. And so that's why we're in court on behalf of a prosecutor who was fired by the administration. He worked on the January 6th cases on behalf of a protester who was jailed and then acquitted, but was jailed in the United States. I mean, they're all very concerned about the protesters in Iran. We have jailed protesters in the United States that have been acquitted because of this administration's targeting on behalf of the National Abortion Federation, because you have a number of healthcare professionals who have been violently threatened for years, and people have been convicted under the FACE Act, the Federal Access to Clinic Entrances Act, that the president wants to give money to these criminals. And then you have some good government groups as well as the city of New Haven. So it's a big coalition, all standing up to say there's no authority here, and we're going to win.
Brendan, I said on this program last night that it's my opinion this is the worst thing that Donald Trump has done, aside from directly making people suffer, in terms of announcing something with an idea, because it's threefold. Number one, you have the power of the purse of Congress is taken away. Essentially, that he's just going to have this fund, $1776 billion, come out of settling a lawsuit with the IRS. Number two, judicial review and how it's harder in this case. And that's the question I'm going to ask you about. And then number one, to me, is that this feels like it's a payment to a paramilitary group that supported him and acted in an insurrection against the government of the United States to overthrow a free and fair election on January 6, 2021. Now that I have all that out the way, it was said in Reuters today about why lawsuits against this fund might be difficult is the following. Legal experts said opponents of the $1.76 billion fund will have a difficult time establishing a legal right to sue, known as standing, because it may be tough to demonstrate that they have been harmed in some way. Some experts said that the best chance to challenge the fund may come later, when claimants, even Trump opponents, might allege they were harmed because their payouts were too low. You're a former federal prosecutor. Is that the route here? And how successful do you think it could be?
Yeah, so 2 points here. Let's talk about what we would call a cause of action and then about standing. So what makes this fund illegal in the first place? This is what Sky is getting to in our respective lawsuits. First is this is a settlement for a case that can't exist. To have an actual case, you need what's called a case or controversy. The two sides need to be opposed to each other. Donald Trump was suing the Internal Revenue Service that he controlled. So there was no actual case or controversy to settle. But even if there were, Donald Trump cannot use the fiction of a settlement to create a new, effectively, government department or agency that he controls that he can then use for any purposes. The analogy that we've been using has been, could Barack Obama use the guise of a fictional settlement to create the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau? I don't think Republicans would like that. I don't think anybody should like this. So that's the cause of action stuff. But you're getting to standing, right? So, I think Sky's lawsuit is really important. I think our lawsuit is important because we're sort of approaching it from sort of collaborative angles here. Yeah.
A pincer move, as the chairman would say.
I want you to describe your own lawsuit, but I'll say the way that I read it is yours is a story fundamentally about the corruption of this fund that, the people Donald Trump likes are going to get money. The people he hates are going to get punished. What our lawsuit is looking at the fundamental danger of this fund. The fact that the January 6 officers not only risked their lives on January 6, but continue to do so by speaking out. They are continuing to get death threats. And this fund is going to give money to the very people who threaten their lives. It is going to put the presidential imprimatur on their actions, financially encourage them to act on their violent threats, and give them the money to do so. The danger that they are put in is what gives them standing.
So, okay. That's not enough. Sorry. Yeah. It's not enough. That is going to get in front of a judge. And this is my core fear about this is everything both of you are saying, and this I really want you to hone it down for me on this, because I think the standing is the weakest piece here, not because it's the weakest piece, it's because everybody else believes it is, who are going to have a decision here. Because judges look there and they're going to say, Sky, how are you harmed? Where's your harm? Because being harmed is what gives you standing in front of a judge. Right? When you make a decision, right, that impacts my business, like in a negative way, and I sue you, I have now standing to do that. This is the point of this piece that you just read, Luke, that's critical. The fund to challenge the fund may come later when claimants, even Trump opponents, might allege they were harmed because their payouts were too low. They were harmed. You said, I should get $3 million. They gave you $150,000. You sue them. That gives you standing. So help us better clarify the standing argument.
And no offense to whoever, and there's a lot of great commentary.
No offense to Reuters. No offense to Reuters, okay? To one of the wires, but
I want to be real clear that for the last year and a half, about every time we file a case against this administration,
you didn't have standing, right?
We hear this commentary, and we have prevailed over and over and over again. But it's an important thing that you're asking.
Right.
And our clients are very much harmed. We have healthcare professionals that go to work every day that for decades face threats, violent threats when they are going to work to do their job. So many violent threats that Congress, in an overwhelming bipartisan majority in the 90s, passed a federal statute that criminalizes people who engage in that type of violent disruption before healthcare clinics. Just as one example, we've got a lot of plaintiffs in the case, but this is an example. So the president comes out and says, I'm going to give you money. You've been convicted under this statute. Everyone, agrees that you committed a crime here, and I'm going to further empower you. It's the same, a very similar standing to what you see with our Capitol Police officers. You have similar things with prosecutors who were doing their job. They were career people that were just doing their job that the government has been weaponized against. And we could go on and on and on. Now, what you're posing is also another place where this fund is going to get in trouble because it's arbitrary, and we know that it's going to be administered in an arbitrary way. So goodness knows what the administration is going to do and how many more claims we're going to have and how many more people in the country are going to have standing if this proceeds. I bet it won't. I think we will either successfully block it in the court or what you all previewed today. Even Senate Republicans decided to say something on this. My goodness. We don't ever see that except for the Epstein files. So I think this is a really bad move that the president made. It's totally unlawful. People are harmed, but also it's just politically so problematic. And, he did it right in the middle of a midterm year.
Yeah.
Here's my thing. I guess I just go back to, I'm not a lawyer. I just used to do talking points for the lawyers. But I take your point about standing. I take y'all's point that y'all have standing. But isn't this illegal? Why do we have to go to standing? Can he even do this? There's no actual settlement because there was no case. So the government is literally just making it up, okay? And we're just supposed to go along with the get along? And then there's the IRS piece of this where
none of the kids could be looked at.
Yeah,
the whole family's exonerated.
How is that legal? It's not like the president issued an executive order. Not even the real attorney general. The stand-in attorney general, which is what an acting attorney general is, issued a memo from the Department of Justice saying all these things that, again, I'm wondering, are they even legal?
But to your point, Simone, those things have to be resolved in one of two ways, right, Brenda? They're either going to be resolved by congressional action, a law that Congress says, I'm sorry, Mr. President, you're not doing that, or a judge that says, you have standing, come tell me more.
Really?
So which
if he's just making it up, he's making this up. There's no settlement. Maybe I feel crazy. He's gaslighting us.
Well, I think your points actually kind of build on each other, which is, it is so comically, impossibly illegal that the law almost kind of hasn't caught up to the brazenness of the scheme. Now, here's the thing, though, is think about if this happened in any other country. If you had an illiberal leader promise a slush fund that was going to be paid to paramilitary organizations that had previously tried to overthrow the Democratic elected government and that was continuing to make threats against its enemies, would there be any question about the danger that posed? And I think I hate to say the fortunate, but the entirely expected thing is happening, which is this is playing out exactly as we expected, which is the day that we filed the suit, Donald Trump said that he expected this money was going to go to rioters. The Proud Boys said that they were going to...
everybody started lining up,
They said that they're going to start, requesting money, and our clients started getting death threats. So all of those things have lined up, and those things are only going to continue between now and that motion to dismiss.